thing. Can I get it to start? I'm going to do it.
And we're live.
We are live once again on the Thursday. The Lonely Mark is coming to you. This week we will be talking about, for the first half, we're just going to talk about whatever we want to talk about, whatever's been going on in the wrestling world that we want to bring up. But it's also Richie's week, so we will be talking about Battle Riot V.
Man, slurping noodles.
Yeah. It's my week. I can do what I want. I'm slurping noodles on stream. But yeah.
We're all here once again. Austin, how's it going?
I'm exhausted. You ever get exhausted just watching stuff? Like, you're not doing anything, but you're just exhausted because, like, I had nothing else to do today, so I didn't really plan on this. I ended up going to the movies and watching 3 movies today at the movie theater on my Regal Unlimited. I just stuck around all day. I watched
I also did a triple shot last week. What'd you do?
I did The Machine, The Flash, and The Blackening. I did the marathon.
Oh, you did see The Blackening. I wasn't sure if you would or not.
I did.
We'll have to talk.
Mine was what's the Boogeyman Machine, and then I finally saw Transformers.
Okay.
Mine was my triple 3.
Well, I don't care about Transformers, so that's what I saw. I tapped out on those.
You had to. I'll just name my own shit. Thanks, Austin.
Yeah. I don't know why you would bother. Like that series.
You saw The Blackening. You're one to talk. Like,
I'd rather watch
like
The
you saw
Blackening
better
than
movies.
watch another shitty Transformers movie.
It was better than the last couple, man. And again, like you said, it's a free part of the past. Like, geez, I didn't know you had to fight me on what I saw. Just tell me what I saw.
Hey,
now we'll go to our judges.
Who won the debate, Richie?
We debated that.
John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah.
Go in theaters. I'm disappointed I missed that one in theaters, but I am curious to hear your thoughts on The Blackening. Maybe we'll talk about it on Saturday before we spin our wheels.
Sure.
Show me.
I'm curious.
I did too.
Yeah.
I'll give you one thing about The Blackening. The movie's not gonna stick around very long where I live, because in Hendersonville, North Carolina, where I live and where the theater is, it's about 95% white. I'll just say that. So this movie probably won't last a week in the theater. That's probably why I saw it this week, because it won't be in theaters next week, most likely.
And Feather Daddy is here. So very curious on the nickname.
No one else has a nickname? No, just me.
Where does Feather Daddy come from?
It's from a recent debate that hasn't aired yet. So the origins, even though I'm using it now, have yet to be told. But I liked it, so I'm going to keep it for probably 2 to 3 more streams, and I'll never reference it again.
Before the debate's even aired.
Yeah. In anticipation.
But Richie is also here. I'm glad he's here because
I'm glad I'm here because
we're talking about the show he picked out. So
you watch.
If he wasn't here, this would be
a
short conversation.
Battle Riot, a very wacky match. I can't say it's good. It's just something that I like watching every year for for who shows up, because it's chaos. Because literally anybody can come to that show. It's great.
And that's maybe my problem, because I know we're going to talk about it later, but just to bounce off that, I didn't find it as wacky and who's going to show up, because this is the first one I've watched. So maybe I have to go back and watch the other 4 and just like watch them in comparison. Like, oh, okay, that's what he was talking about. So we'll get into the more specifics later. So we are. I wanted to bring this up first. We are building to Forbidden Door, which is 10 days away, right? Do we still only have 2 matches booked for that?
Fucking AEW and their non-booking of matches.
No. There's other matches. Like they announced stuff on Dynamite. They got Jungle Boy and Sonata. They've got
They didn't really announce that on Wednesday. They just had Sonata do an open challenge.
No. They definitely do have. Like, they had the graphic up. They definitely have Jungle Boy and Sonata. They've got Tanahashi. I mean, even though MJF said he's not going to show up, they've got Tanahashi and MJF.
He is the challenger this year.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange is probably yeah.
Well, the first two that you mentioned have been added to the Wikipedia page. Orange and Zack Sabre one has not been added yet.
Yeah, because they haven't fully like they're doing a tag match and then they're fully going to announce it. Yeah, there is another one I'm not thinking of, but there is.
From what I can see on this article, the only 4 officially announced so far are Danielson, Okada, Omega and Will Ospreay, Sonata, Jack Perry, and MJF Tanahashi.
Yeah, I think they're going to be yeah.
Which is not a bad 4. I mean, Omega,
no, not at all.
Which they did, further build upon this.
Well, and if Sabre challenged Orange Cassidy, I'm sure that match is happening. It's just not.
Oh, that's 1,000% happening. Yeah, there's no reason why that wouldn't happen.
And potentially, I don't know if they were going to wait for the Ring of Honor thing, but potentially Shibata and Daniel Garcia. But that could be happening in the Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
That's probably Ring of Honor because Shibata's the champ, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he does a lot of New Japan anymore. He's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
kind of
I
a part-timer.
But yeah, because wasn't there like 12 or 14 matches last year for Forbidden Door, and
It was a long show. Like it had
Well, yeah,
good
maybe
stuff on
including
it.
the pre-show, including the pre-show.
Good show, though.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
Maybe they've learned from that. Yeah. Not
The last paper we had one match, pre-show wise. So
yeah,
they might be chilling. Yeah,
maybe a 10-match card this year, 12 match. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just weird that we're 10 days away and we've got 4 matches booked, like for what should be their biggest show of the year.
I think they were.
I don't know if it's their biggest show of the year. It's their combined show.
I think before Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks broke her ankle. I think it seemed like they were going to apparently they were going to do Mercedes Moné and Saraya, which would have been interesting because of the backstory there. Given that shit, yes, Sasha was the one that accidentally, prematurely ended Paige's career for a while. So yeah, that'd been interesting. But yeah, that's not happening because But I do expect a women's match to take place at some point. I mean, Willow's New Japan Strong champion, so maybe they do something with her. We do something. Yeah, I don't know. They would do something with. Yeah, there'll be some women's match.
Was there women last year? And I don't think Willow's. I love Willow, but I don't think she's special enough. Unlike Mercedes.
Well, I don't think there was a straight up AEW women's match, but not an AEW.
Wait, there might have been actually.
I think
last year there was Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa. Yeah,
that's what
it felt out of place, but yeah,
it felt so out of place. It's like
so they could shoehorn in one in, yeah,
all AEW and if they have a big 5 or 6 person team match, don't change the stipulation the day before, please, because if we do our predictions and they do that again, I will be upset if I pick the wrong team. Right, Pez?
Because it makes a difference when it's who's going to get the advantage in a War Games match when most of the time it's the heel team, and I would have predicted that going into it. In a good War Games match, the heels have the advantage. So as we'll probably see when there's a true War Games match on my pick next week, we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
we'll talk about that next week.
Last year was I'm looking at it now. 4 on the pre-show, and then
and I think one was added like the day of or the day before, like
9 on the main show. Well, I mean, even stuff like Lance Archer, Nick Camarado.
I think that was the one. It was like, hey, Lance Archer here. Yeah. So
the Ass Boys leaving Billy Gunn and Max Caster alone in a handicap match just to fight the younger guys.
And then they won, right?
Yeah, which they shouldn't have, but yeah, they did. Billy Gunn and Caster.
So, but yeah, no, all 4 of these matches look good. Jungle Boy.
They'll probably announce stuff like last minute, like they'll probably find a spot for like Ishii, they usually do, and maybe Suzuki, Minoru Suzuki, like they usually do. Surprised still at this point, like I thought last year that they were missing, slowly missing like Naito, and it looks like maybe this year again no Naito.
We'll see. If I was, I would think they would like try to throw someone like Naito in just to make it not the same people every year. You know, Suzuki and.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Also, I mean, you never know too. Because like looking at last year too, there's a lot of like multi-man matches. You know, you had the 6 men that had Phantasmo and Shingo, and you got Great O'Khan was in there, and so there's still a lot of room for different possibilities.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to just cram as many people as they could on the show last year. And so far we've got 4 singles matches. So I'm curious because I wasn't actually able to watch Dynamite last night. How did the Jungle Boy and Sonata match come to be? Because it's like I don't understand how you can lose a title
Barely
match
nothing.
and then get another title match. Like
So they just randomly, Excalibur just randomly said that Sonata was throwing out like it's a pet peeve of mine where AEW's open challenges. So Excalibur just randomly mentioned that Sonata's throwing out an open challenge. So
No. I mean, yes and no. They did a whole video package of Sonata. Who I legit didn't even know was champ, to be honest with you. And real quick of him saying there's an open challenge. And
I didn't realize he was champ. I didn't realize he was. I don't know, for some reason I thought it was something else. But and then I think Jack Perry. I think he had a match earlier on in the night. I can't remember who. But yeah. And anyway, he was cutting a promo backstage with Renee, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll accept the challenge." He's like, "I want to win the belt in 2023." And then Hook came up. He's like, "I want I want you to." I think Hook's gonna be in his corner. So yeah, that was that. But
is Hook still undefeated?
Yeah.
So why doesn't he get the title shot?
Guys, stop putting logic into this. Why did Nyla Rose get to fight Chris
Wins and
Stanlander?
losses matter in AEW, right?
I'll tell you why.
I would say Hook
They
would
haven't
have a
said that
better
in a
chance
while.
than Jungle Boy of winning that damn match. Then, if he's undefeated, that would be add more drama to the match, wouldn't you say? If he could potentially get his first loss in a big match like that, that would be more dramatic than a guy who I have no chance of winning the IWGP heavyweight title. By the way, the heavyweight title, by the way, for the smallest guy on the roster. Just putting that out there too.
Well, don't be Jim Cornette. Who gives a fuck? It'll be a good match, but I don't give a shit about that. But as far as win losses,
Yeah, I do think it does seem that they've quietly got rid of the rankings. They haven't mentioned that.
They have.
Ring of Honor tried that. Different companies tried, and then it's a little hard, and then just to keep track of all that, and to be honest with it too, you know what I mean? And no, AEW is a great example. WWE does it too. Nyla Rose got a title shot against Chris Stanlander, and then a few days later, Nyla Rose was in a 4-way for a title shot for Toni Storm, and it's like, well, shouldn't she be at the bottom? Plus, why did Nyla just get her shot? But now all of a sudden you have to fight for a shot. There is no rules here, man.
But then why did Sky Blue get a title? Look, she came out of nowhere. Anyway,
Well, yeah, but she won the match at least.
She won the match at least, but still, why did she?
And that was the point of the match.
Yeah, the rankings aren't even on the website anymore.
But I mean, Nyla Rose. It's weird. It's like if you look at the trajectory, I feel like everybody's first title defense is against Nyla Rose. It always happens. It's like
because unfortunately that's just a good old tradition of she's a good hand and she's there and she's not high on the card enough to where you're going to put a feud all of a sudden with her. Let's make it the first defense just to make Chris look strong.
She should be a baby face and she should be pushed. She's funny. she's great.
She's delightful, man.
And she should not. She should be. They should be showcasing her personality. She's funny.
JPO, is that a camera on the wall behind you?
No, fire.
Okay. It looked like a security camera, in case somebody broke in and tried to steal your chicken tenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that I thought was interesting.
What happened to the items in the safe? Who gives a shit? They took the Tyson tenders.
They took my chicken tenders. Sorry.
Hey, the important things matter, okay? Another thing I thought was interesting, and then I had to look it up too because I wasn't sure if it was true or not. But apparently, Chris Jericho and Sting have never been in a match together. And it might happen for the first time, which is crazy considering they were both in WCW together for a while. No, I looked it up.
It kind of tracks though. I mean, if you just think about sadly, like Jericho was very
was
much
a mid carder, yeah,
cruiser to a
yeah.
mid card
Yeah.
tops.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
even like a battle royal, anything like that, like they've never crossed paths.
I bet you. I bet you.
I
they're in
looked it
World
up.
War
I
III.
looked it up. You can fact check. I went to Cage Match. I used your website.
Yeah, you want my
Never
side, boy?
been. They've never been in the same match. Even in AEW, never been in the same match. And it might happen for the first time with a 50-year-old Chris Jericho, a 60-year-old Sting.
You were right, man. Yeah, not even a World War III.
Because I think
All
that's what I was thinking too. I just didn't know what it was called. Because Tony Schiavone mentioned it.
That was WWE going 1 match 30 guys. Nah, fuck that. 3 rings, fucking 60 guys.
And
I mean, we'll get to it. I feel like I do feel like the Battle Riot did need multiple rings, just so it's going on. But but we'll get to that. But that is interesting. But I think with WCW, once if you're a mid carder, it was really hard to get elevated to anything other than a mid carder. So it does track that.
I mean, to a degree. I mean, that's pretty much why.
I'm just saying, in a company where we had Billy Kidman versus Hulk Hogan, I would have thought for sure we would have had Sting and Chris Jericho at
there was really only 2 or 3 guys that ever broke out of that mid card thing and eventually became mid card. If you think about guys like Booker T, who was like a TV title tag guy for a while, and then he finally kind of went into the main. DDP, who was like a mid card guy, TV title kind of guy for 95, 96, who broke in, finally got in the main event. But other than that, not a lot of guys. I guess you could say Jeff Jarrett to a degree. But there was other than that, it was kind of the same, dozen old school, guys who kind of ran the show, for the most part and circled the main events. With the occasional guy maybe thrown in there here and there, but not much. So Jericho just never traveled in that circle. You think maybe at some point they might have crossed on like a random Thunder tag match or something like that, but
that's what I was saying.
But no, never happened.
I mean, and if I'm going to trust anyone about the going ons in WCW, it's Tony Schiavone.
They all make mistakes. I love whenever Bischoff. I've heard Bischoff be very stern on things, and then if you just fact check it, you're like, nah, dude, you're several years off and you're completely wrong. So I don't know. You never always quiz.
Yeah, we need MLW's Matt Stryker to give us a fat check or some numbers.
That was a big surprise. I wasn't aware that.
We'll get to that. I will get to him. I'm not a huge. I've never been a fan of Matt Stryker on commentary at all. He also sounded like
I actually have been. I've less recently, but
I wasn't a fan of him in this match.
He sounds like, and he also sounded like he was doing commentary from remotely. He didn't. I don't think he was there. But
he was there. I saw him on camera a couple.
Oh,
times.
really?
He might not have been there.
The two commentary guys were in the corner, by the entrance.
Okay,
I saw them. I saw them there. They were there, but
Okay, because sometimes it just felt like he was. No, it just felt like the audio. Sometimes he was being it was just trying to be quiet. It was maybe it's
he didn't want for wrestlers who were 12 feet away to hear him.
Well, you're saying it might have sounded like sometimes on the Ring of Honor DVDs when Gabe Sapolsky and CM Punk were definitely sitting in somebody's garage, doing commentary.
Yeah.
And which I've seen that garage, by the way. It's at Sal's house, where they do the commentary. And I remember there was one hilarious one. This is a quick aside, but it was Gabe and whatever name he went by, because he didn't go by Gabe Sapolsky.
Hold on.
Whatever his stupid name was.
Jimmy Bauer.
Yeah. And but it was CM Punk, and there was a match I used to, because it's on the Best of Jack Evans DVD that I still have, where it's like some multi-man thing and Jimmy Jacobs in the ring. CM Punk is clearly eating his dinner during the match, because he's half the time he's going, man, listen to this crowd, they love Jimmy Jacobs. He just doesn't give a shit. It's great. They're clearly not there. And then at some point CM Punk goes I'm gonna go down to the ring and slap the shit out of that Jimmy Jacobs. I'll be right back. And he clearly just went off to go pee. He just doesn't care.
Guys, me and you know what happens, because we watched your video recently. You're reffing while doing commentary.
I know.
And I've done the same thing where I'm clearly in the background walking around and I'm me on post commentary.
Oh no, it's
Come on, Get a better.
I've even done it where I'm a manager and I try to do like an accent.
Oh, yeah.
On commentary.
Well, I at least almost tried to time it where whenever I reffed, I would have my shaved head and then my hair. We usually do the commentaries and stuff a couple months later, so I would have my hair grown out a little bit and I wear the glasses, so I at least try to pull a Clark Kent, sort of a situation where I don't quite look exactly the same. But hey, if it works for Superman, it can work for me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another show that only has 4 matches booked, but this one's not till July 1st, so it's okay.
Let AEW breathe, man. You're so mad at that 4 matches.
Well, I mean,
we're 10 days away. Like
it's 10 days away.
I think it might, maybe it's a cocky thing of theirs. Is they're like, listen, man, this shit sells itself. It's New Japan.
They do have like 8,000 shows now. Collisions coming. So that
I feel like
they lost 2. They dropped their YouTube shows. So
I feel like they had their card just about put, except for the matches they added last minute. I feel like it was all put together. Well before.
I think if you look at a lot of those lower card ones, I think those like that 6-man random 3-way tag were all kind of the last like week or two. So
yeah, that could be fun. And yeah, but I mean, and he's got Ring of Honor, so I guess yeah. But I want to know what's happening. I want to know, am I buying the show in 10 days?
Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. We'll do the watch along, and I'll buy it, and I'll and we'll just do the watch along, and I'll
watch along, except for Richie.
Watch along.
Like,
I've got real friends.
I'm sorry.
I'm Richie.
I mean, maybe if like my friend I usually go with, like he at the moment he's got COVID. Maybe if he had COVID later on, maybe if he was selfish enough to get COVID.
What if he didn't have COVID at all?
I know. Yeah.
You're a great friend, Richie.
He just want to see me. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, cool.
Eat your noodles. Well, what kind of noodles are you eating?
Beef noodles. Noodles, beef, and yeah, they're all right. They're okay.
Is that a generic brand or is that a name brand? Just like the logo and the packaging just looks very.
Don't spill
generic.
it, Richie.
It's kind of generic.
You got that cup tilt pretty.
Right, it's like the great value brand for America.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's generic-ish. It was
good. Lowe's' second number 9 broke the record. Just to remind everybody.
What was that?
Lowe's' second number 9 has the record for quickest elimination. I'm rewatching the Battle Royal.
Oh well, I took way too many notes for this. I have all the entrants and eliminations.
Nice. Yeah, I meant to do it, and then I fell asleep and went back and forth.
Well, I don't know if I have every elimination per se, but I have every entrant at least listed out, and there definitely wasn't 40 official entrants, but we'll get to that later.
That's what I was curious about because
I counted 35, but that's just me.
There was a dude that came in early. There was.
Well, I'm assuming
Ravens
all the members of Ravens flock were supposed to be in it, but they just all entered immediately, so they were kind of disqualified. So
we'll get to it. Ravens group where Raven came in and clearly is not in the shape to wrestle, but he just stood there in the corner.
Got up every now and then to do a DDT, and then later.
Yeah,
he got an elimination.
He's listed as an entrant, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so maybe they were all official entrants, so they all came out immediately, and they got it. That was the 5, I guess. But I counted 35 official entrants. But anyways,
no, I did want to just touch on Money in the Bank real quick because we're getting the bill to it. The men's field is set. I'm surprised they're only doing 6 people this year, but I like that they're only doing 6 people because it feels like I feel like 8 to 10 is just too many.
Yeah,
I was sure though that they were going to add Bronson Reed. I thought that was
Did he not lose a qualifier?
He did, but then he was attacking Ricochet. I thought they were going to do it how they do that like a last chance thing. I thought they were going to do that. Yeah. I thought they were going to do that, and now they were setting up that he was going to win that because he was still kind of a loser about that. So I was like, okay, yeah. I did like how Ricochet was like to Bronson Reed is like, well, I beat 2, and this feels like a WWE line. Just the way he delivered it is like, I beat 2-time Grand Slam winner The Miz. I'm like, yeah, well, so did Snoop.
So did Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, it's not a big,
Yeah, Snoop Dogg just couldn't fly over for the event, so Ricochet
Yeah.
took his place.
My prediction: Snoop Dogg comes in and takes the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Snoop
Sounds
Dogg
good.
is pulling a Lesnar.
Yeah.
But I do like how, like in the men's, like none of them have won the Money in the Bank, so you're guaranteed a new Money in the Bank winner. And two, have any of these three? I think Ricochet's been in the Money in the Bank before, right? But other than that, I don't think any of them.
Ricochet, I think Shinsuke might have,
Shinsuke might have.
but I don't remember off the top of my head. I know Ricochet for sure has, but yeah, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, and Damian Priest have not.
Yeah,
I think the field. Yeah, I think that's exciting. It makes me even more, pumped that LA Knight is going to win.
yeah.
Get the field, and it's like,
Yeah.
who's gonna get it? It's like, I think
Well,
Ricochet
yeah.
and Nakamura. Sure, they might be the favorites going in, but I think Ricochet.
Yeah.
Nakamura. LA Knight. He's got the fan support. I mean, him and I guess you could like do a fun thing between Damian Priest and Finn Balor if Finn Balor ends up beating Seth Rollins. I don't see that
He's not going
happening.
to.
Let's save that for the prediction show though. But
And Butch is there because they're in England,
Butch is there because he's a great wrestler.
and he's a great wrestler.
Hey. Well, for both. I mean, listen, it's unfortunate or unfortunate. It's just what they do. You know what I mean? It's Alina in Puerto Rico. It's Natty in Canada. It's now Butch in London. All three are talented. I'm not saying like, it's the only reason they're there, but it's definitely a reason why Butch.
By the way,
Nakamura's to a main match.
Nakamura's been in 1. Ricochet's been in 2. So.
Yeah.
So you do have 4 fresh participants, though.
Yeah.
But all of them non-champions though, which is
none of them are one.
None of them
so
champions.
none of them
Yeah.
won.
No, I know you said not one.
Yeah.
I just meant like not only a Money in the Bank, but none of them have won a world title.
Yeah.
So that's cool, but I do.
Like,
feel
I'm down for that. Unless Brock comes in and fucking wins the last 10 seconds, I'm down for whoever.
If Brock's there, he interferes in the Cody Dominic match, which just seems very random.
No, I don't think he needs to interfere in that unless it's just to cost Cody and give Dominic a nice win, which is possible.
Yeah, I mean, and just set up the SummerSlam match or whatever the next live event is after Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it is SummerSlam, I believe.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I mean the women's looks all right. Yeah, all right. Women's is harder to predict. I mean, we'll get to it in the predictions, but I'm thinking. I think they probably held off on the Damage Control breakup because Dakota Kai got injured. But I still think maybe you could tease that maybe with Io Sky winning the Money in the Bank.
Because both of them are in, and they got one spot left. Curious to see who that could be.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure who to guess at the moment.
Candice LeRae, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe Indy Hartwell.
I think she's injured actually. That's why she hasn't been used.
Indy Hartwell still.
That'd be great, yeah.
I know she was injured. That one's gonna be a little. I think they're both hard to predict at this time. I will see what happens during the build, but I'm glad they're only doing 6. I think that's gonna make for a much tighter match. Match.
Everyone can get their shit in figuratively. Yeah.
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 Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. I think talk about long-term storytelling. This is going back to 2016 when Finn got injured. So that's cool. Cody and Dominic.
I do hope they're not like breaking up the judge. Like they kind of tease that there might be tension with the Judgment Day, and I'm like I don't know, like Judgment Day just getting momentum too, but it does seem like interesting to break up people who've got momentum. So I don't want to, I don't know.
I think Priest, if they do, I think Priest could be the one that turns face.
Yeah, I think he will too.
Because he was like, hey Finn, why are you out here during my title match? I didn't want you out here. Which, by the way, was a great TV match.
Yeah, it was a great TV match. Yeah, it was really good.
Speaking of that, I hate when they do they book title matches for these pay-per-views and premium live events. but also have other title matches booked before that. Like, what's the point of doing Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins before?
Yeah,
Monday?
when you know the result. Yeah, like, well, Seth Rollins is winning. Yeah.
I don't know, because what's wrong with Braun Breaker versus
That's a
Finn Balor?
main event match.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a main event match in NXT. It's not a main event match, and not for a title, not at this point. But
I think it was just to gain interest in NXT. So hey, the world champion is on NXT. Watch our show.
Going back to where it started in WWE, not where it all started. But all right, I guess we have to talk about it. Richie, I first want to know why Battle Riot 5.
Why Battle Riot 5?
Yes,
Because it's the new, I don't know, it's the most recent one. So, I don't know. That's why I was just like, oh, just start recent. And I mean, I could start the first one, but I don't know, just start.
Yearly tradition since MLW's been back. They didn't do this during the original run, but since they've been back, this is obviously a tradition.
okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. Just it's something. Honestly, it's just something I didn't just stumble upon. I'm like, oh, this looks like a Royal Rumble, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's just like this is really stupid. But
I'm not knocking on it. I'm not knocking on your choice. I was just like, what was the reasoning behind?
Yeah, no, it's just the most recent one, and like, there was enough wackiness in there. I'm like, you know what? No, I'll get on this one. Like, there's definitely, I definitely recommend going back and watch the other ones because they're wacky as well. But yeah, I think there was enough. Like, yeah, there's definitely, yeah. I mean, Royal Rumble set the precedent of like, like, oh, you never know who comes through that curtain. But I feel like lately it's like, yeah, like, it's less random where it's like, sometimes, but like, I feel like in MLW, it's like, no, you literally don't know. It could be like someone you didn't even realize wrestled anymore, or somebody.
Yeah, like I said, my one complaint, and I really liked this year's Royal Rumble, was that outside of Booker T, who is not a huge surprise because we see him on a lot of the the kickoffs, and he's on NXT every week, and you know what I mean, is that was our only like surprise. You know what I mean? Like we were missing a Carlito, a Jarrett, a Hurricane. You know what I mean? Like we were missing a surprise. So I enjoy the random ass. Duke Trocy, who knew that dude was around, who knew that dude lost a fucking leg.
I didn't know like, holy shit.
Snitsky, like, you know what I mean? Even Kimchi, put someone in a mask, call him Kimchi, because obviously
we did a vintage one for vintage. Simon Says his promotion, and we had one of our guys dressed up as Kimchi, and then
there you go.
No, I mean you can always have Kimchi. And then he got thrown over the top, landed on his face on the outside on the basketball floor, and knocked himself out. It was very scary. Not good.
There was 1 year. I think that he's done it every year except for this year. Actually, there was one the year where Savio Vega entered, and then he got eliminated. But then he came back as Quang.
yeah, like that's fun. Like, when was the last time you saw Quang? Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with that
some of the fun
why not on an independent show if Foley can go in as three personas?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I've had, just to get to a certain number. The Rumbles I've booked, I've had someone where I'm like, hey, did you got a mask gimmick? I'm like, cool. Well, you're entered 2 and you're entered like 14. Get eliminated around 7. Get ready to put that mask on.
It's almost like a cross between a legit Royal Rumble, World War III, and the gimmick Battle Royal from WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, you might got some like faux legends. Also a mix of like, I don't even know, because I also had weapons in it a couple different times, which Rumble's done a couple times.
Unless you're Finley and you bring a shillelagh and you get disqualified.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is the dumbest shit ever, even though in 2001, Al Snow and all the hardcore guys brought in all their weapons. Tommy Dreamer every year he was in, always brought a kendo.
Tommy Dreamer had a kendo. I feel like he did Foley in 90. Foley in 98 did some shit, didn't he?
Yeah. They started with chairs. Sandman entered with a can and a couple ones he was in.
Al Snow brought a bowling ball in the ring, and then
Sabu brings tables and a chair. So for some reason, if you're Finley and you bring a shillelagh in the ring, you get disqualified and thrown out.
You get disqualified. Stupid. All of a sudden, we have DQs.
Yeah, all of a sudden, out of nowhere. So, okay. Weird.
Now, there's also, too, like, they've gone back and forth, too, on the, if you get eliminated by someone that's been eliminated, there was 1 year where, like, they were like, no, that doesn't count. They're back in the match, even though they had been thrown over the top rope. by someone that wasn't. I think Vader in '96 didn't they do that?
Yeah,
Or like Vader threw out some guys, and they're like, "You're allowed back in."
That's actually my pet peeve. I don't think there should be. If you're eliminated and you get, if you've got to be eliminated and you try to eliminate someone who's in the match, that shouldn't count.
And one year it didn't, and then other years they don't.
Yeah, but that's always a pet peeve of mine. No, if you're eliminated, that elimination shouldn't count. Okay.
The thing that bothered me about that weapons, I guess, spots is apparently he was. And this is my first introduction to MLW. Actually, I haven't watched it. But apparently, the guy that brought the shopping cart full of weapons was the tag team partner of somebody that was already in the ring, and while the tag team partner is getting attacked and on the verge of being eliminated, the other guy is still just throwing weapons in the ring and is showing no sense of urgency to go help his tag team partner try to stay in the match. And then
he got eliminated before he got in the ring.
His partner got eliminated before he got in. That was Lance Anoa'i. Lance Anoa'i was getting eliminated as Juicy Finale or the Fatu or whatever his name was. Yeah, the other Samoan guy was too busy throwing kendo sticks in the ring to give a shit. And by the time he got in there, his partner was eliminated.
Yeah, and he didn't bring enough in his card apparently because he had to start going under the ring too. I was like, "There's plenty of stuff in the ring. Just get in the ring."
Well,
does
and
the
fact that
minute not start until you get in the ring.
You're 450 pounds. You're twice the size of everybody in the ring. Just get in the fucking ring. You know, like
it reminds me of I saw it live too. Jeff Hardy's AEW debut. Like Matt's getting the shit kicked out of him, but Jeff has to dance first. Yeah, dance. Like your brother is getting beat up by multiple people.
Yeah.
Shuck and jive in a minute. Go save him.
Yeah.
I will say, as somebody who is just watching MLW for the first time, and this is my introduction to it, I think they did a good job for me personally of making Alex Kane a star, because I really liked his performance here. Sure, there was that thing that you do in every battle royal where somebody's going from beginning to end, where he's out for a while because during that whole calling spot where they're just eliminating everyone, Alex Kane is on the outside, and but thankfully that only lasted 5 minutes maybe before, and then he was back in the ring, so it didn't last too long. So even though he was in the match for, what was it, a 46-minute match?
Yeah.
41 minutes, according to this. He was still in it for most of it. And so,
but then he eliminated like 4 or 5 guys in a row too.
Yeah.
Like after the ring cleared. So they made him look like pretty legit until, a few of the other guys came in.
Most of them were by submission too.
Yeah, he choked most of them.
He came in and he's got a good submission, and I was impressed with the guy, and I'd like to go back and watch more of his stuff. And
and a general side note, shout out to Alex Kane. Like I remember talking to him a little bit briefly. Like he's not around, hasn't been around that long. MLW's done a good job of pushing him. He's been one of their mid card champions already, and they did a good job of making him look good. And like you said, you kind of do leave off going like, all right, I'm ready to see how he does with Hammerstone now,
Yeah, who I had to look this up. Apparently, has been champion for almost 2 years.
Yeah, he's had it for a while,
like a year and a half. But I guess because I was looking up the title history, and I guess when you end an 800 plus day reign, you can't just get it and then lose it. Yeah, you also got to have a pretty good reign with it as well. So
Fatu had it for a while.
Shout out to my boy Frankie Gassino, who was the referee in the ring for most of this match.
Oh, nice.
My good buddy who I traveled up and down the road with many 8 or 10 years up and down Florida, and stayed at his apartment in Daytona, and we're good buddies. Yeah.
Do you watch much MLW, Richie?
I try to, but it's like their TV thing on Fusion. Is it recorded a while ago? Because they've still got Taya Valkyrie and stuff in the graphic on the
it's taped in bulk to a degree, kind of like Impact. So she might have been gone for a month, or I don't know. There's also too, it's kind of a weird landscape now. I wouldn't be surprised if she just made the deal with AEW, going, hey, let me stick around in MLW for a little bit longer, or like I said, they taped it in bulk. So
who was the only one in that series of 5 eliminations that was via pinfall? Apparently, they didn't want him choking her out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, but I was say if you watch a lot of MLW, because shout out to my buddy my buddy David is the big guy with Raven wearing a mask and like overalls. He's played like he's just someone that's liked in the back, and he's like he's also like a production guy. So he's had like 4 gimmicks. He was with like Holodead as Dr. Dax. He's been on he was on Tom Lawler's Island as like an island person. Like they always just kind of give him like these random like B rolls because he's around and he's a good hand, he's a good guy. So I just thought it was funny. I was like, another fucking gimmick, David? Jesus, like this dude's been under at least 5 different names in this company.
So, Austin, have you watched much MLW?
I saw some shows maybe a couple years back when I started seeing that there was a point where, am I wrong? There was a point where like Colonel Parker was like managing a tag team?
Yeah. It was I don't know if you probably know him, Leo Bryan and Michael Patrick.
I kind of know. Yeah, there was a couple of guys for a while that were dudes I had ref for around Florida. Yeah. The dude who's the NWA guy. He used to be Mikey. Do you remember what's his name now?
Perot.
Yeah, Mike Perot with him and Odinson are like a tag team or whatever, and like NWA. Like when he was on the show for a little while, and Barrington Hughes was on the show, and like
I love Barrington.
Yeah, like a lot of those guys were in there. So like I kept up with it for a little bit, but this was like 2018, 2019.
Yeah, we're going back a bit.
Like
shout out to Barrington and my boy Snoop Strikes, who's go to Brazil in the first ever.
I've ref for Snoop Strikes. The only people on this show I had ref for was Lindsay Dorado. I've refed a lot of matches for before he got signed with like WWE.
I've done shows with him.
Tons of shows with him. Yeah, so I know Lindsay. Like I said, Frankie the ref. But like other than that, like I didn't recognize a lot of the people initially. I'd seen a few people here and there. I know Jacob Fatu. Like I know he's a pretty big indie star at the moment. Like with the Heritage.
Well, this one, where was this? Does anyone know? Is this in New York? Where did they film
it? Was in
this?
Philly at the ECW Arena.
Philly.
From what I can tell. Yeah. The 2300.
It's the ECW Arena.
Yes, the ECW.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
Which apparently is the reason that Snitsky was on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, is he in Philly?
Yeah.
Hey, and
I say not Snitsky, Snisky.
I think that's his real name.
Snitsky is copyrighted. Jesus. I don't know, but just in a day one Santino's not copyrighted, Billy Gunn's not copyrighted. They're still covering Snitsky, like.
But Snitsky is actually his last name, like.
Yeah, Snitsky
is his real last name.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, wouldn't you use the fake name if you could? Yeah, I'm just saying, I find it hard to believe they're still copywriting it.
Maybe it was like a WCW thing. Maybe on the Indies he lost the T in his name.
Yeah, him and Booker. Yeah, but I mean, I think you do get a good glimpse. Like, there's some really talented people, man. Like, I still say Leo Rush is great. I like Kane. I love Jacob Fatu. This is where David Boy Smith is.
I liked the Kaiju guy, O'Shea Edwards or whatever. He was
he was
good.
What was it? What was there? Oh, the Bomaye Fight Club. Is that what they were?
Yeah, their little faction or whatever. Yeah, because at least O'Shea went in and helped Alex Kane, his faction buddy, when he ran in there and helped him out when he was in trouble, getting like double teamed in the corner. Hey, good partner there. You can fight. That's always also bugged me. There was a Royal Rumble one year where the Hardys, like one Hardy came in, and it was Matt Hardy was fighting the Undertaker. I think it was 02 or something like that. And like Jeff comes in and runs. He doesn't do a shit. He runs to the ring and helps Matt. Okay, cool. And we double team or whatever. We did something, and then they cleared the ring, right? So, and they decided to fight. I'm like, why? Stand there.
2001, because you know who comes in after?
Right.
Drew Carey.
And then Kane.
Yeah, and Kane.
That's how it is, because they eliminated each other, Matt and Jeff.
Yeah, well, that's stupid. Why not just stand there? And
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. It was done just to kind of get the ring empty.
Yeah, that's
in reality, it's like fucking and it's early too. They're like numbers 4 and 5 or some shit.
Yeah.
I did start watching last year's Battle Riot, and I think the first 2 entrants were tag team partners at that time. They start, they go at it. They're going very slow though, and then the third entrant comes in and it's like, all right, well, now we're just going to team up and not worry about going after each other. Until, of course, 5 minutes later, one of them eliminates the other one, and the tag team partner gets mad, doesn't they do the spot where the other guy's about to be eliminated and he doesn't say anything, just lets him get eliminated.
Yeah.
Then they just
It's
walk
also
back like
frustrating-
nothing happened.
It always frustrates me on like the games. They don't program it on the video games like in the like Royal Rumbles that like to recognize tag partners. Like I'd be Jeff Hardy or something in Royal Rumble, and then Matt Hardy would come out, and the first person you'd attack is me. I'm like, no, you should recognize I'm tag partners. Stop attacking me.
I never
wanna
thought
say
about that.
I want to say they
Yeah.
fixed that for this year. I think I was watching a YouTube channel and they had mentioned that. Like, in
Yeah.
Royal
Who's
Rumble.
buying the
Trying to
new
think of
AEW game?
I don't know if it was, I think it was the new 2K.
I'll wait for the reviews.
I am too, man. I'm like, listen, man, this day and age, $60, them reviews better be an 8 and above.
And if it's not so great, I'll just watch other people play it or wait till it's about $20 on sale.
As I say, wait for that $20 drop.
Wait for that $20.
I did see.
I've waited this long. I can wait till Christmas when it's on Black Friday.
I can wait for that Black Friday online sale. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I did see.
If it's 8 or above, I might do it. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah. I did see a clip where you can on the AEW Fight Forever game where you can like if you can smash the like the LED screen. Like if you Irish whip them into the screen, it'll go fuzzy for a bit. The Irish whip them again, and then you slam them, it'll break. And go, that's kind of cool.
I will say, I like the idea of mini games. I'm almost looking forward to that more than the wrestling.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere too where Orange Cassidy's moveset changes, like when his hands are in his pockets, but versus when they're not. So
Which is great. I'm
might
glad
look
they were able
fun.
to figure that out.
Yeah. But back to Battle Riot. You know who I wasn't a fan of?
Microman.
Beastman.
Beastman. Microman. I thought
Microman.
it was fun.
I
for
will
a
say,
while.
on the normal show, they're hyping that motherfucker too much, Microman. Like, this dude the dude's old and like has kind of two moves. Yes, he's small, but doesn't need to be on TV every month.
We'll get to Beastman in a sec. What was the point of? Were they trying to play chicken and they just botched it completely and just abandoned the idea because it seems like they couldn't get him up on Lindsay Dorado's shoulders, even though he weighs 50 pounds. And there was a couple men in there that could have put him on the shoulders pretty easily, and yet they were having way too much trouble trying to set up the spot, and then just completely abandon the whole thing and just like
that was botched. And then also too, if you notice, Beastman with the Singapore cane sold it, and then like even though nothing was touching him, and then went, oh shit, do it again, sold it again. I was like, cut that out. It's not live. You couldn't have cut that. I'm sure you could have cut those 5 seconds of him doing it twice.
Yeah.
It was because Microman was also in last year. Like I said, I started watching last year's, and it was even funnier last year because he was doing like some like top rope or middle rope like splashes, and the dude was selling it like he just got Vader bombed.
Yeah,
it's like this dude weighs like 75 pounds. Like it doesn't hurt as much.
I'm not even a weekly viewer, but I'm over Microman.
No, I was more interested when Juicy went up to the top rope and did a legit top rope splash to that one dude and killed him. I like that.
I did like how like Juicy went to the top rope and then like the ring shook and I think was it Little Guido fell out the ring.
Yeah. That was great.
Little Guido, who I did not realize was still wrestling and apparently is in an FBI tag team with not Tony Mamaluke.
Not Tony Mamaluke. Ray Jazz.
Ray Jazz. Who doesn't have
Ray Jazz, who I know from. I think he was used to a jobber on ECW on Sci-Fi once, and he famously split his trunks versus Zack Ryder.
No, that's not him.
Was he?
No.
I know
not at all.
He's way too young
That's
for that.
Rapid Rory Fox.
Okay,
that Jay guy, I looked him up. He's like 25 on ECW.
Okay,
like 8 years old.
I know the name. Was he in like I've seen him before? Has he probably been in Dark or something or AW?
He might have done some darks, yeah.
Or maybe he's on Impact as well. I don't know. I do know that name. Oh my bad. Yeah, Rory.
Sure, no, that's that. I only know that for sure. Well, I know for sure because the time frame, like Pez said, but also too that guy on the the Gallows and Anderson Talkomania show. Like that was like a repeated thing. Was that guy like going up and be like, I want my chance again? Zack Ryder screwed me.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
That dude's like 45 now. Like that dude's like,
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
But no, back to your original point. Beastman sucks. Yeah, I didn't like him.
Oh my, I feel like
yeah.
if he was around, like the 90s and like maybe early 2000s.
God,
maybe
he was like as bad as like Bastion
that.
Booger and shit like that, and
He-
fucking and
he
you
just-
know,
he-
Fryer.
I think
Fryer
we're only judging him off this match because I haven't seen him do anything
Yeah.
else. But like if
yeah.
like, hopefully it's better because there were several spots where
I
I
feel
was
like he's kind of one of
Yeah.
those, not in the same vein, obviously, but almost like a Joey Janela. Like he got like hyped for some reason. Maybe he has like a cool looking moonsault or something. Like there's like a reason I think he's there because otherwise, he's that great as a total package. But he got some sort of hype that like got him on the show.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have to like look up some other moments of his because I was not impressed with him at all. I was impressed, however, again, and this is kind of for me what I was doing. Like I was like, oh, I want to know more about this guy. I want to know more about this guy. I haven't watched MLW before. Calvin Tankman.
I was going to mention him. I like
I think he's a good big man.
him.
I think
Calvin's
he's
great,
solid.
man. He was starting big in the pandemic days of MLW. Like him and Fatu had a good match. Like I like him a lot, actually. Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, speaking of like good big men, number 2 in this battle, right? Willie Mack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I recognize Willie Mack, from something, but I think has he been in PWG a couple of times? I think
He was a big PWG guy for a minute.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
a big guy for a while.
Yeah,
I thought he might have been signed to AEW or Ring of Honor because like he had that Brian Cage match on Dark, which was so good. They put it on Rampage, and then he was doing like some Ring of Honor stuff too. So I don't know. I guess he's not signed, or I don't know.
Shame. He's good.
I like Willie
I've
Mack.
always liked Willie Mack. He was even weirdly enough, he was signed to WWE, and then like I don't know if he came back. Like,
there's a story
felt like
behind
a
that.
test
This
or
is hilarious. That's actually it's actually pretty funny. According to him, but he got signed and then he wasn't used because he reckons that they signed the wrong big black dude, and like because he wasn't watching TV, and then shortly after after they released him and then signed Apollo Crews. I think he reckons they meant to sign Apollo Crews.
Oh, jeez. I mean, that's not like Zach Gowen, one-legged wrestler. Like, how are you going to sign him?
Yeah, I know.
I love the big black guy. All right, and they signed the first big black guy they found. Because he's one of those guys, like, he never wrestled. He got signed, and then, like, all of a sudden he was back on the indies, like, a couple months later. Like, he never wrestled a single match.
That's why he says, like, I think that they signed the wrong, that they signed me on accident.
I want to go back and rewatch this show and count how many super kicks were thrown during this match.
I'm sure it was still less than your average Young Bucks match or Russo's match.
Or Uso's match, yeah.
Yeah,
So like every young guy that entered the match, that was their first like 6 moves.
yeah.
What's his name? Jimmy Lloyd when he came in.
Yeah.
Feel like
I was surprised to see him, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like again, this is my first time, but yeah, he was decent.
He's all right. He's kind of one of those like I've seen him mostly do like that deathmatch stuff. So
He's from GCW.
I haven't seen a shit ton of like normal matches.
Can we talk about how Duke's prosthetic foot wouldn't come off and they couldn't rip it off?
Oh,
that was awful.
Again,
Yeah,
like cut some of that. Like it's just awkward now, you know?
Yeah, it was weird because he tried to do a spot with it, didn't work, so he had to do an awkward submission on the other leg that wasn't a prosthetic leg just to eliminate him, and that was weird. You know,
the booker in me too is very curious because like none of those people lasted long. Like Snitsky's in it like fucking a minute.
yeah.
I wonder how much they got paid. Like how expensive is this match?
Probably not that as expensive as you might think. I remember there was a Money Mark guy, and there was a million of these in Florida, but he wanted to run a show in Orlando, and he booked like a pretty big venue, ended up only drawing like 200 people, and he had a big wad of money. And I remember they told because Frankie ref that show, and he texted me and told me about it. He said this guy way overpaid for John, John Hennigan or whatever you want to call him, Morrison, whatever you want to call him. And it was like the main event was like him and Carlito or Chris Masters, some shit like that, like, one of those guys, and like way overpaid for him to where like he should have offered him way less in a hotel room, and be like, are you free this week? Are you working this weekend? End up paying him, like offering him, not even negotiating, like $2,000. It's like, you're way overpaying for John Morrison. Like you John Morrison, like I know he's a name, but that's one of the things. It's like, oh, you're free this weekend. Okay, $500 in a hotel room and your airplane ride. You know what I mean? Like that's your offer. Take it or leave it. Most of those guys will probably take it.
At the very least, try that. Yeah, I won't name names, but there's a one TV guy that we weren't really we definitely weren't against having him, but we weren't like desperate either by any means.
Right.
And I kept saying no, and he kept just knocking his shit down.
Yep.
And down and down, and finally he was like, all right, fine. I almost can't say no now.
Right.
Easily more than half of less of what.
Especially if they don't already have a date booked with somebody else. Most of them.
Yeah,
if you pay for their
want to work, and some may say no, but then they say no.
If you give them transportation and a hotel with their name, and then a couple $100, most of them will do it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them still have some part-time gig during the week, and they just work the weekends. Obviously, there's no wrestling shows during the week unless you're on television. But yeah, it's
RBW. We run Tuesdays now in Fort Myers.
Okay, are you bringing in TV people for that?
Not usually.
Right, that's my point. Most of your guys that have day jobs will be available. But no, you offer them something. They take it or leave it. You know what I mean? And but you don't book the whole show around them. If you make it, you make it. If they don't, you don't. It's as far as Snitsky goes, I couldn't see them paying more. Especially if you said he's local, right? He lives in Philly.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll give you a couple $100 to show up and do the spot. You know what I mean? I would imagine it probably wasn't that much, honestly.
You think only a couple hundred?
I'm thinking no, honestly, because I know the business, dude. If he's local, $300.
Nah.
I'm saying if I had to predict that's what they're probably offered him, take it or leave it, bro. Because you could do it without him. They clearly he wasn't winning it or anything. You could have done it without him. Got somebody else. You could have got any.
Get your face on television.
They could have done any. Especially if it's Philly. You know how many ECW schmoes are probably still living in Philly that they could have got that have any kind of at least some still name value.
That's part of the negotiation. They're like, yes or no. I got Blue Meanie under the line.
I got Meanie. I got Stevie Richards. I can get Pitbull number 2. What? You know what I mean? Whoever. I can get somebody else for $300. Somebody will take it. We're just calling you because you live two blocks over from the building. Whatever.
Sabu's feeling rejuvenated.
Yeah.
If Billy Corgan booked this Battle Riot, Gene Snitsky could probably win the thing. Just
he loves his WWE alumni. It's Mike Nas.
He likes the old people who can't go.
He probably got paid as much as he did for that ABC show, What Would You Do?, where he was a bully.
Oh, okay. Who was?
Snitsky. Yeah.
I love that show.
But yeah, I mean, if it's big if Duke jumps to Josie just walk past me, I wouldn't I wouldn't notice him. I mean, I expect him to look different. Obviously, it's been years, but yeah, you
can see a little bit, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah,
as you know, I wouldn't have noticed.
I mean, ironically, mentioned John Hennigan. He's in this match, but I think he was doing stuff for MLW at the time, wasn't he?
How is he not Johnny Major? Does he not do that anymore?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, why is he Johnny Major?
Sounds like a porn name.
Johnny Major.
Going back to Duke real quick, am I just ignorant on how prosthetics work? Because if you attempt an ankle lock on a prosthetic leg, does it really hurt that much?
No, that's probably why they went to the other leg.
And he's playing it like it really hurts.
Yeah.
Was I was legit am I just unaware of how prosthetics actually work?
No. Well, that would have been a nice revelation if it was somebody putting on a standing ankle lock and the foot came off, he thought he was doing something, and the foot came off and he crawls away. That would have been
a Kurt Angle Eddie Guerrero thing, except the whole foot, the whole leg comes off.
Yeah, he pulls the boot off. Yeah, if it was something that might have been what the spot was supposed to be, but the foot didn't come off, so it just looked awkward for a minute.
Yeah,
it seemed like an eternity.
Were they trying to go for Shock Valley was it Roddy Piper and was it Mad Dog with Sean? Was it Roddy Piper and Mad Dog with Sean? Back
no, it's Diesel, Brett, and Mad Dog.
Diesel, very Mad Dog where he ripped off. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when they ripped off the thing. But yeah, whatever they were trying to go for didn't work. But yeah,
But Again, I think Alex Kane looked like a star for the most part. I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, I would say like I mean AEW or somebody should look at Alex Kane, but I feel like they've got too many people in their roster, and there's people I forget, there's people that show up I forget are signed, like on Rampage when Mercedes Martinez had a match, like, oh, that's right, she's still around.
Yeah, I would mind seeing him do something in Impact. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think
I don't know what the weight limit is for.
I would say, even though it's kind of the same, it kind of isn't. I think he fits Ring of Honor pretty
Ring
good.
of Honor, yeah.
Yeah, Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. He's only 29, so he's still relatively young. Especially
he must have started kind of late then, because I feel like that dude's only been around for like not even 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says he made his debut in 2018. So
yeah, he's type of dude that WWE would like. But he's type of dude that WWE would like, but they haven't signed any like new people in a while. But yeah, he's type of dude WWE would like.
He was ranked number 86 of the top 500 in the PWI 500 last year.
That's pretty good.
So,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to going back and watching more of his stuff and seeing what happens.
I want to see more of the I wasn't aware there was a new Samoan SWAT team with Lance and Juicy, but that seems pretty interesting. I thought they looked pretty good.
I would have loved to have seen something in this match, but
and Lance put on some weight too. If you look at Lance from like 5-10 years ago, Lance is a skinny kid. He put on.
Is it a requirement that you have to wear like those tights and pull them halfway over your belly and have kind of a belly to be like one of those guys? Like Fatu
evidently,
because that's what Jacob Fatu looks like. That's what Umaga looks like. That's what Solo Sikoa kind of looks like that.
I legit thought when Lance first came in, I was like, oh, Fatu. I thought it was Jacob Fatu.
They look very similar. Jacob Fatu's got more of the beard or whatever, but I'm surprised nobody signed Jacob Fatu. I think that guy's made a name for himself.
Yeah, dude, I definitely thought that dude was Impact bound or even AEW bound a long time ago.
Ring of Honor would welcome that guy. Like I think
anybody, dude.
Well,
I'm just surprised he's kind of plateaued in MLW for the last couple of years.
Oh I think he'd be part of the the bloodline thing. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, WWE too. Yeah, anyone.
Because even I saw one show where what's his name, Armando Estrada, like managed him. And called him like the Samoan Tank or some shit like that instead of the Samoan Bulldozer or whatever. But like I was like, that guy's perfect to come back and manage Jacob Fatu. That would make perfect sense, like on the Indies or whatever. That'd be great.
Speaking of managers, we didn't talk about that wrestle. Jesus Rodriguez. What was he like?
That was weird.
Yeah. Lasted way longer than he should have.
Yeah, who lasted?
Yeah, true. He was in there for a minute. Yeah.
I mean, he was eliminated fourth, but it took a while for the eliminations to actually start.
Mance Warner pinned him at when he was number 14, so he lasted like 10 spots. So he lasted like 12 minutes in the match, which was weird. I feel like he should have only existed to do the Microman spot where he crawled in and hit him in the nuts, and they probably just should have tossed him out like right afterwards. Like that would have been fun. Because there was a point in this match when I think it was when the calling finally came in, and I texted Richie this, but I don't know if he's like, I said, this is way too many people for an 18-foot ring. Like, this is way too many people. Like, there was a point where there was like 12 guys in the ring, and then Raven's Flock came in. I'm sorry, I keep calling Raven's Flock because that's what it is. But like, Raven's Flock came in, and there was like 25 guys in the ring, and I was like, there's too many people in this goddamn ring. Like, they need to clear this. This is the point in the match where they definitely need to clear it, back to square one. And luckily they eventually did. But there was a good 5-minute thing where I was like, I don't know what's going on. I see Delirious for some reason, who I didn't know was still wrestling.
He never stopped.
I know, but it's like he's just a random dude in Raven's faction. That's weird. He's kind of a name who was big in Ring of Honor in the 80s for a while, so that's odd. But okay,
he's done stuff in Impact recently as well for a bit of time. But he's just for him to be a dude is kind of interesting.
Well, he was booking at one point for Ring of Honor, like he was kind of like booking.
He was the booker for a long time, man.
Because I knew that guy for a while. His name's Hunter, but he's a nice dude. But it's like. I didn't know he was still wrestling, honestly. Like, I did not. Some of these I was surprised. Him and Guido were the surprise. I was like, they're still wrestling? Oh, okay. Yeah. How old is Guido? And I looked him up. He's 53. I'm like, I guess he's still in shape. Okay. Well, he's a guy that could just, he doesn't have to do a whole lot, I'm sure. He can just do his wacky bumps and, facial expressions, and he's fine. Let the other guy work. Yeah. Okay. I'm all right with that.
A guy I was unaware of, and I definitely want to see more of, is I'm going to butcher the first name. It's the Japanese guy that was one of the final four.
Shigeru Ire or something.
However you say his name. Yeah, I was impressed by what I saw of him. So I'd want to go back and look some more of his stuff up. He looks like a very old 35-year-old though. He did look a little older than he actually is, but yeah, no, it was fun.
David Boy Smith Jr. was rocking the 1999 British Bulldog look
Yeah.
with his jeans
It
on.
was.
He's definitely he's gotten pudgy, which is worrying.
Well, that's kind of what happened to Davey Boy, isn't it? He got pudgy and started wearing
I was
jeans.
definitely like, oh no, this is not good British Bulldog vibes, late 90s.
I was like,
and
bro.
I don't know. He must be a big heel. The crowd fucking hated him.
Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with why.
I mean,
but sure.
don't, because Davey Boy Smith Jr. He's 37. His dad passed when he was 39. So let's hope it's not. Let's hope it's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to look that
That's
up.
why I look in a cringy way. I'm like, dude, don't wear those jeans. Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought the match was fun. There's definitely fun moments to be had. I'm curious to see what the other four are like, so I will go back and watch them. So I guess it accomplished that. It gave me some new guys to look up, some guys that I'm very interested in. So all in all, I thought this was well worth the watch. So thank you, Richie, for choosing this. Austin, what are your overall thoughts on the match?
It was fun for what it was. I was unaware. I didn't know MLW had been doing a sort of Royal Rumble meets Money in the Bank meets a match, because it's like, it's the Royal Rumble, but with pins and submissions, but also the winner gets a Money in the Bank contract, essentially. So that's all right.
Oh, wait, but not a briefcase.
It's a golden ticket. A golden ticket. No, to be fair, we did a Rumble thing in United Pro where the winner, the first year we did the United Pro Rumble, we did it a couple of times. The winner got the title because we were introducing the very first belt. And then, so we pulled a 92 Royal Rumble. And then the ones after that, they got a contract in a little briefcase that could be used, for anything. It was essentially a Money in the Bank contract. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, it's the similar thing. And obviously he's just using it he's facing Hammerstone at their next event from what I saw in July, right? So whatever that die and again or whatever the hell it's called, they had the promos for.
So either he didn't utilize his Money in the Bank properly, or he's just very honorable.
Hey, he actually wants to book the match in advance. Yeah. So that's fine. I mean, whatever. Some people do that. That's fine. But yeah, no, I mean, the match was fun. I got to know a few. I'm not as in tune with the indies as I was, let's say, like late 2000s, early 2010s. So, to kind of get in touch, MLW is a fairly, known promotion, at least, on the indies. So I, to get to know a few of these guys and get a little more interested, I'm always discovering that there's new members of the ever-growing Samoan family, spawns of Rikishi and the Samoan SWAT team and all those guys that had a million cousins, and everybody's related to somebody. Everybody's somebody's uncle or cousin or nephew or whatever. So that's fine. They all span from one family. That's all right. But hey, most of them are pretty talented wrestlers, so I'm okay with that. So all right. But yeah, overall it was some good little gimmicks here and there. Some old timers that I was okay with. Yeah, Raven is 58 but looks 78. My God, does he look really old?
He's a grizzled young vet. He's a grizzled young vet.
Let's just say cocaine's a hell of a drug, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do it. Drugs are bad. Don't do drugs.
Yes. Don't do what Raven's doing, but find out whatever Sting is doing.
Don't do what most of the ECW locker room allegedly did after every show. Okay, allegedly. But anyways, or pretty much admitted in any shoot interview with Raven and the Sandman. But yeah, but it was all right. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I might, if I'm just not doing anything, just put the other ones on in the background and just see what's going on, like Jacob. So yeah, not a bad little watch.
Yeah, I'd be curious if they upload other matches from the show as well, because I was looking at the card overall, and there's some interesting stuff there. Like they don't have times. They have the times for the first 3 matches, which I thought was weird. They were all 3.5 minutes or less. And it's a 14 match card actually. So I'm curious because yeah, there's some really good. There's Willie Mack, John Hennigan, and Leo Rush in a 3-way match. There's Shigehiro Irie and Calvin Tankman. Jacob Fatu versus Ricky Shane Page, which we saw later in this match as well. So yeah, there's some interesting things on here that I'd be curious to check out. JP, I know you've watched MLW before, so have you seen other Battle Riots? Like, how does this one compare? Like, in the 5 that we've gotten.
Yeah, so I feel like if, for whatever reason I didn't see maybe the last 1 or 2, but I definitely saw the first couple. There's been times where I do try to make MLW a weekly thing, just so much time in the day to where that usually falls apart. I even tried last year, and that only lasted a couple of months. But no, I mean they're fun, man. I'm a sucker for a Royal Rumble, and this fits the. What I like about a Royal Rumble is, they usually throw out a couple surprises, maybe even a couple indie names. There's a couple indie names today. TJ Crawford. I've only seen a little bit of Ken Broadway, so fun to see names like that. Fun to see names like I love Lindsay Dorado, so happy to see he's still banging somewhere. And then the fun little guest appearances, even though they don't last long, it's still kind of fun to see. Oh, Duke Trocy, man, never necessarily thought I'd see him on my television screen again in a match. So there's some flubs. I think in Rumbles that's always bound to potentially happen, and it definitely happened in this one, from the ankle lock to the couple of the weird spots with Micro Man didn't totally work. But overall, it's fun here, man. You get a little taste of, like you said, you walk away going, let me see a little bit more of Alex Kane. Let me see a little bit more of this guy, that guy. Hopefully it gets people interested. MLW is a good product. If you can find an hour here or there every week, you'll usually find a couple matches to talk about. Got a decent women's division too. Some good tag teams. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So, yeah, Richie, you obviously chose this. So, kind of the same question, I guess. Where would you compare this in relation to the other matches? And is there anything else that you would recommend checking out as somebody who is an MLW viewer for the first time?
I'd just say this: just give them if you try, just give them a watch when you can. Their show Fusion's pretty good, but yeah, like a JPO, I only have so much time in the day, so only watch it. It'd be now and then, but it is pretty decent. They got a good roster, and yeah, I think the Battle Riot's just a good show. It's not only just because it's a good showcase of who's going to come to that curtain, or what random person's going to come to the curtain. It's just a good showcase of who's hot on the indie scene right now, and so you get a good idea of okay, who's up and coming, who's probably, I mean, not that MLW is a feeder system necessarily, but who could potentially be just get to that next level, but an Impact or a AEW or a WWE kind of thing. I know the relationship between MLW and WWE isn't great these days, but yeah, you'd be silly if you went to WWE and not at least looking at this and going, okay, yeah, I want to know when this guy's contract's up. I want to know when this guy's, and especially people like Alex Kane and Calvin Tankman and and people like that definitely impressed me every time I see them. And Jake Fatu, I don't understand how that guy should be a bigger star than he is, and I'm sure he will be. He's part of the Anoa'i family, so they WWE collect them, so they say, hey, you're a part of us now. So he'll be in WWE eventually, I'm sure. And Lance Anoa'i. Lance Anoa'i, by the way, you might know he was in WWE briefly. He jobbed as Shane McMahon a couple of years ago.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Shane McMahon's the best wrestler in the world, as we all know.
Yeah.
Oh my! So yeah. So speaking of that, I mentioned it on the channel before. The Stash Club Wrestling channel, they do quizzes, and usually they're viewer submitted quizzes, they're not having somebody write the questions for them. They're viewer submitted, and they were doing one where it was guess the wrestler by the nickname.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first nickname was the best in the world. The answer was not CM Punk. the answer was Shane McMahon. The very next one, because they were like, they both put CM Punk, and they're like, no, we're giving ourselves a point. This is the one time we're doing that. We're giving ourselves a point. CM Punk called himself the best in the world. The very next one, though, the nickname was the voice of the voiceless. It was CM Punk, which I thought was funny.
But yeah, I'd recommend. Yeah, recommend. I don't know where it stacks up with other ones. I mean, maybe like there's I can't remember what it was last year, the year before, but the one where like Alexander Hammerstone wins, that's probably a bit better. But like yeah, I just gave away who wins, but who else? But that's where he kind of that's where he kind of goes on his run. So yeah, and again, he's another guy, by the way, Hammerstone. I'm surprised no other company's picked him up yet. He's a good looking dude, good wrestler.
That would be the 2021 Battle Riot.
2021, that's what, yeah. And then, 2022, I think, was run by Jake Fatu. But I'm not spoiling it. They said that on commentary.
Yeah. They mentioned it quite a few times, and the record. And it's like you knew Alex Kane was going to beat the record just because of how many times they brought it up.
Yeah.
And then you got Matt. It doesn't mean anything if he loses. They're like, it kind of means something. Like, don't.
And if you like this, check out BossFightShop.com and get the Wave 1 of MLW action figures, featuring 2 out of 4 guys that are no longer with the company. There's a Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross, and I don't know if Mads Kruger is still a thing, but Hammerstone fought 2 of the other 2. Although Hammerstone's got his old hair and his old gear.
Yeah. I mean, I could see like Alex Kane going WWE because WWE do like those amateur wrestler type, like your Chad Gable, I mean Gable Stevenson, or he hasn't really worked out, but like the Chad Gable type, the Canadian type, Jason Jordan type, like wrestler. So I could see them wanting him. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, it's a shame Jason Jordan doesn't wrestle anymore. Maybe one day he'll be able to make a comeback. Well, I know he's producing, so at least he's able to do something with the company. But I would love to see Alex Kane in NXT in like within 2 years or something like that. I think
that'd be cool. Yeah.
Cool. Or I mean, also just pop up wherever he can, and keep putting on good matches. Good show. I enjoyed it for the most part. Minus the Microman, Beastman, and then the calling just felt a little convoluted. Like there was just
and there was that other thing where it was like we keep cutting to somebody who I didn't know who it was brawling with the calling in the parking lot, but has no payoff, and we don't see him ever again. Shots of it. That was weird.
I'm wondering if it was like something that happened earlier in the show that we don't know. Because we're just getting the Battle Riot match. I
like that. I guess like Alex Kane was like a heel going in, but like he sort of like maybe him winning was like a babyface turn because he did. But the only time he really got booed heavily was when he tapped out Microman. They're like, boo! You can't beat up a little person.
I mean, you could be the biggest face in the world, and you make a tiny man tap out, you're going to get booed. People love tiny people. But next week, we will be it'll be Austin's turn. Even when I win a predictions contest, I still come in last. But it is what it is.
Well, it actually works out because I might not be able to be on the show in 2 weeks, so it works out that I'm doing my next week. So that'll work out. Nice.
So why don't you, Austin, tell us what we are doing next week?
And we're gonna do. I decided to pick a good show, so I promise it's a good show. We're going a little more old school with WCW, back to kind of their NWA sort of days. So the Great American Bash is still a thing because NXT still uses it now for one of their summer shows, and I think they're doing another one.
They're doing one in July. Yeah.
In July, yeah. So we'll do some Great American Bash, and pretty much what's regarded as the best one they ever did, which is Great American Bash '89, and. Yeah, it's a match that starts out a show that starts out a little slow, but is well known for the second half and particularly the last 4 matches being all bangers pretty much in a row. So it's a show that finishes very strong. But the actual card, I'll just do the card real quick. They do have it's a 2-ring thing because they do a 2-ring battle royal, tag team battle royal that involves a bunch of teams. You got Brian Pillman versus Bill Irwin, the Skyscrapers versus the Dynamic Dudes, Jim Cornette versus Paulie Dangerously in a tuxedo match.
Is it weird that that's the match I'm most looking forward to?
It is actually very entertaining. I'll say that. Those guys know how to put on a character-based. They're not trying to wrestle. It's just entertainment value, and they know what they're doing. The Steiners versus the Varsity Club in a Texas Tornado match, and then kind of the 4 that everybody remembers: Sting versus the Great Muta, Lex Luger versus Ricky Steamboat, a War Games match with the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, and Steve Dr. Death Williams versus the Fabulous Freebirds, all 3 of them, and the Samoa SWAT team in a War Games match. And then the main event, Ric Flair and Terry Funk, and those guys always had awesome matches whenever they wrestled, especially back in the day. So yeah, but yeah, it should be good because we'll be going back to Time Machine talking about some wrestlers we don't get to talk about a lot. But surprisingly, as we go through the shows, you'll see wrestlers on the show that are either still active or just recently retired, or all that. So it'd be kind of astonishing to talk about as we go through it. So yeah, so it should
I'd be curious to see if the Jim Cornette versus Paul Heyman were to happen today, how Jim Cornette would react to that match.
I would rather just have verbal debates. I think that would be fun. But yeah.
Yeah, that's next week. We'll also
we'll do our Forbidden Door predictions because we should have the go home Dynamite in the bag by the time that we do our show. So hopefully
they'll still have Rampage. So if anything gets added last minute, like
and Collision, right?
Yeah. Collision is this one Saturday.
It's a Saturday show. Yeah, we might have the go on Collision in the bag there.
We'll see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's literally Saturday. It's this Saturday, y'all.
This Saturday.
2 days.
Oh, this Saturday. Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a Saturday in July, like after.
No. Big month for AEW. They got a pay-per-view, a video game, and a new TV show.
Oh, yeah. So, CM Punk is on his way back. I don't know why I thought it was July. We should have talked about that. Oh, well. We're great hosts.
Also, I mean, I sort of joked with my friend. I mean, I'm looking. I guess I'm more looking forward to CM Punk, obviously. But like, they also announced Miro's in action. The Miro's coming back. And I'm like, why don't you lead off with that? I love Miro. Anyway,
I gotta lead with that.
I know. But also Andrade's coming back too. It's Andrade versus Buddy Matthews. So
that's gonna be even better than the CM Punk main event. Calling now. Well, it sounds like a good show. I might watch it. If not, I will record it and watch it.
And Luchasaurus and Wardlow.
Is it for the title?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I've got my ticket for AEW Collision in Greenville the first week of August. So I'll give you guys a live report. And it was funny. They've only got a certain amount of sections that they're selling because they're probably not anticipating a full arena, which I wouldn't either for just a random, Collision. But it's interesting the difference in ticket prices because if you sit across in the lower bowl area across from the hard camera, it's like $100. But I just got one that's like diagonal to the, ring and the hard camera in the stage, and it was $20. For like the 4th row up in the lower bowl. So still a really good seat. Nice. But like, the difference in price, whether or not you're kind of pseudo on camera is astonishing. So, and I was like, it's just Collision. If it was a pay-per-view or something, or like even a Dynamite, I might splooge for something. But yeah, for Collision, no, I'm just going to go there and see it for $20. That's fine. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Even with the fees and everything, it was like $35 total. So yeah, I'm going to go to Collision.
Nice.
It's only an hour away. I don't have to go very far. I went 2 hours for the Dynamite and Rampage. I went to, about a year ago. That was in Columbia, a little further away. But yeah, this was just down the road in Greenville, so not very far.
Nice. Yeah. So I guess we'll be looking forward to Collision. I completely forgot. There's just so much going on in wrestling nowadays. So much to talk about. Next week we'll talk about the Great American Bash '89. Give our predictions. JPO, before you fall asleep forever. No, not forever. For the rest of the night. why don't you tell the people?
Oh, I will be
There.
on the one for your show, Jacob, but just the one after that. I'm sorry, I got my
Oh,
names
okay.
confused. So it'll be like I think I won't be there for when you guys review Money in the Bank after Money in the Bank. I might not.
Okay.
So, but I'll be there to predict Money in the Bank, but I might not be
Okay.
there for the review. But I'll still watch it. Yeah, but I'll be here for your prediction show. Plus, I guess we'll be reviewing Forbidden Door as well, so that might be a longer show. Yeah, we'll see.
So, JPO, where can the people find you other than here, obviously?
Besides from when I pop up on here, you can find Feather Daddy over at the Piersco. We're doing some movie trivia. We got started a tag team tournament. And then Pierce Wrestling Channel. We got some wrestling fun over there. Next week on both channels, it's going to be Trivia Week. We're doing ASATs. We're doing Jeopardy. We're doing Twibbits. We're doing Plot. We're doing wrestling. We're doing everything next week. It's Trivia Week, y'all. Tell your grandparents.
Be kind of hard, but okay.
My grandmother doesn't, or most of my grandparents are dead.
So are mine.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Anyways,
I have one that I call grandma who's still alive, but she's not actually.
Hey.
Technically all my last two passed away this year. So yeah. No, that's all right. They were both 93, so it's fine. They
lived a good life.
They lived a very long. It wasn't. They didn't get hit by a drunk driver. They died of old age. So
Jesus.
Both my grandmas were 60 years.
Yeah.
But Pez, where can the people find you?
I co-host a lot of stuff here on the Movie Hero Network. I'll be with Jacob on Saturday night. We'll be doing our thing. I'll let him talk about that. Richie and I will both be on Rankum on Sunday night talking about movies based on the creation of products or movies or companies or things, so
based off the creation of
things, so yeah, we'll be talking about that. I'm glad he expanded it beyond just products because I had a limited amount of those. So expanding it to even creation of movies, that'll be helpful. So yeah, we'll be doing that, and then whatever else I'm just around the Movie Hero Network mostly. My Battleground match with Amaru Moses is up on TMG and Entertainment. My title match with him. So if you want to check that out, it was really good. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Richie. Other than Rankum, where else can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me. Tournament Fights, Tier Ranker. I think. I'll be on there doing the best movie dads.
Yeah, it's tomorrow night. Yeah,
tomorrow night. So that should be fun. There's
Robert De Niro from This Boy's Life.
There's there's one clear one, but I'm sure we'll debate the other ones. But yeah, so and then come wrestling trivia. Find me there whenever. You can find me. Looking after the mushroom head of a dog that just popped up on my bed. On stream. My Chewy podcast time is streaming. We've been taking a couple weeks off, but the next episode will be Chopping Mall that we'll be uploading. So check out for that. And I'll be around. I think I got something coming out with multiplex as well soon. Filming on So check that out. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and you can catch me Saturday. Yeah, Austin and I on Saturday will be doing a podcast about movies. That's right. We're doing 2 shows in a row.
Because it's one we don't have to prep for, so it's fine.
And we wanted to save our best of the year so far for the 1st of July because it will actually be half the year. So it just worked out that way. But yeah, we'll be doing another blind ranking. I've created a horror sequel wheel, and Austin has created a post 2000s animated wheel. That's going to be fun. And we'll do what we did last time, where we'll each select a number before we start. Whatever we end up ranking at that number, we'll talk about in a future episode. And then we'll spin the wheel because we'll always have choices left over. We'll spin the wheel, get 2 more choices. So kind of like we did last time, which is kind of fun because it led me to watch Poltergeist for the first time, which is really good movie. That's what will be Saturday, Sunday. JPO.
I can't wait for Jacob to potentially watch. I don't know if it's on the wheel. Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. That would be.
Oh, I've seen
great.
all the Halloween movies.
Oh, okay. Or
Yeah,
maybe
remember because I was on the rank 'em with you, and where we ranked Halloween.
maybe like Jason Goes to Hell or something. I don't know what you have on the wheel, but we'll see.
It's Halloween Curse of Michael Myers on the other wheel, the wheel of movies. You could probably.
No, that was like a guilty pleasure pick on that show, but yeah, I don't think it's on my
I
favorite
want-
movies of all time. But I do love that movie though.
I'm debating because I still haven't done my next 64 or the 20
Yeah, right.
honorable mentions or whatever. Just putting some random like not good movies.
Man, I would definitely put guilty pleasures on my extra 20 for sure. So when we get to do The Room, that'll be fun. Which I may go back to the theaters and watch on the 27th at Regal's.
Nice.
We'll see.
When we do Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to just because, like, yeah, just some of those bonkers or how were these made movies. It
Yeah.
would be fun to talk about. But that's a discussion for another time.
How did this get made?
How did
This get made?
back to the plugs. JPO and I on Sunday will be facing off in WT Combat Wrestling Trivia. I told you, Richie, that you called me out. I was like, it's gonna happen. Apparently, there were other plans. Sorry.
There were other plans out my knowledge. There you go. Now I do have knowledge of it. So there.
To be fair, I was also told about the match like 8 hours ago. So
Okay.
there's that. And then other than that, we'll be back next Thursday to talk Great American Bash 89. This has been a fun conversation tonight. Thank you, Richie, for the recommendation. So for Richie, for Austin, for JPO, I have been Jacob, and might not be a doctor, but I don't think the oxygen goes over the eyes.
Guys, it's